Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, Salesforce Minded. My name's Jen, and in today's video I want to talk to you about a very important topic, and that is studying for and prepping for your Salesforce Administrator exam. So full disclosure, it took me 2 different tries to get that certification, so I did not pass on my first attempt. And I was actually already an admin for a couple of years before I attempted for the exam. So I have a story about that, which I'll go over. But more importantly, I wanted to talk to you about some of the resources I used and what I did to sort of get ready for that exam. If you are in the process of studying for that exam and I happen to not mention the resources that you've used, then feel free to put those resources down in the comment section, as I'm sure others that are watching this video will appreciate seeing what resources you're using as well. If you have any questions at all, also leave me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, please keep on watching. So first things first, I will say, regardless of how much experience you have, never take your experiences over studying for the material. And I say that because a Salesforce exam unfortunately does not, in my opinion, accurately assess your real life abilities, meaning you could be an awesome admin with a lot of experience, but it doesn't mean you're going to necessarily pass the exam. And I say that because you sometimes have to be a good test taker. You have to know how to answer the questions, and you don't have a lot of time, right? I think you're given, an hour and a half or 120 minutes to do 55 to 60 questions. That's not enough time. So you could be phenomenal at your job, but you just need to know how to take the test and answer the questions correctly to pass. And for me, I was an admin for a few years, and I thought I knew everything. So, I wouldn't call it arrogance, because I definitely was not arrogant. I was hoping I would pass, but I think maybe hope was the right word. I was hopeful because I had a lot of experience being an admin, and as a result, I think I might have been a little overconfident, and I went in and I completely failed. I think I might have gotten, I don't remember, but it was probably in the 40% range. So, but I didn't study at all. I just thought I knew enough. But obviously, knowing enough is not good enough. So I highly recommend you not go down that path I went down, and actually study for it, regardless of how much real life hands-on experience you do have. And in the next section, I will talk about some of the resources that I used to help me prepare. If you had also failed the exam, maybe you can put in the comment as well on why you failed and what you found to be helpful. Alright, so for the first resource I would like to share with you all is on Udemy. So udemy.com, you can do a search by, there's a lot of different Salesforce admin type courses and practice exams. But personally, I really enjoyed the course put together by Mike Wheeler. And you can see he has one that has over 32,000 reviews. And if you click into it, I think he's changed it quite a bit. Now it's got some ChatGPT thing in here, which is kind of cool. But essentially, I believe this is a course plus a practice test. So this is the one I would use. But before going through this, I forgot to mention, your first guide should always be Trailhead. So when I first started prepping for my exam, that was just right around the time when Trailhead was launching. So imagine that. I think Trailhead launched in 2014. So right around the time when I was studying for it. You always want to get the exam guide. And the exam guide always, you can always see a list of questions, right? So in the exam guide, it talks about the different sections, the breakdown of the questions. So what's the passing score? the fee, and then it also sometimes gives you, in this case, the trailhead or trail mixes that you need to prepare. So always go through this first. And in the exam outline, you can see some sample description of the section. So the smart way to sort of go about this is you kind of know the areas that you need to brush up on, or the areas you need to know about. And then obviously you want to focus on the areas that are more heavily weighted. And now in this case, you do have a few sections like configuration and setup, object manager, and lightning app builder that are 20% each. Another one that's important is workflow / process automation. So that's one thing I would go over. So go through the exam guide, look at some of the trail mixes and super badges. But what I would do is I would look at the exam guide first, and I would take a look to see which, you'll have an idea when you look at these topics that maybe there's a certain area, if you look at the description, that you're kind of like iffy about. So then just pay attention to that, because then you may want to do specific trailheads on that topic, even beyond what is mentioned here, right? These are the self-study materials recommended. And I would do either the Mike Wheeler course, or another good resource is Focus on Force. So I use Focus on Force for pretty much any exam where Focus on Force offers. So there are certain ones like the Omni Studio ones that I've done that it's not part of Focus on Force, but for any sort of consultant exam, admin exam, developer exam, I've used Focus on Force quite a bit, and even some of the architect exams. And when you log in, you can actually go to My Study Plan. So this is after you've purchased. So I usually purchase the course and the practice exam as a bundle. You can buy one or the other, but personally, the way I like to do it is I like to go over the study guide, or just the course, and then I do the practice exam at the end, and I set myself a goal. Right, as you can see, I forgot to update this one, but I did pass this one. But I kind of give myself a goal, a start date, and end date. So you can set your certification and do a start date and end date. And so let me just show you. So if I do say, I'm going to do Service Cloud Consultant as an example. But for you, you'll do Salesforce Admin. So I'm going to say today, pick today, and I'm going to say my target date is, you can actually calculate the best date or input the target date. In this case, I think they're based in Australia, so you have to do a day forward. I'm in California, so I'm gonna do target date end of October, for example. And if I do submit, it's going to give me a very specific, well, in this case, is study plans for Service Cloud Consultant. So it's going to tell me what I need to, which days I need to study for what to stay on track. And alternatively, I think you can do the other way, where you can select a certification, and then you can say calculate the best target date for me. And this, you have to select your answer. What is your level of experience? Well, how much experience do you have in the Salesforce cert area in which you want to test? What's your level of work experience? And 80 hours. This is given out to you. So this is an output from your answers, and then you can say how many hours you want to study per week, and then it will calculate a date for you. So typically, you can do it this way, but I have an idea of what my date needs to be. So I basically, the way I did it, when I did this, it tells you how many days you have to study for each thing, and you can kind of think, do I have this much time to devote, right? So keep in mind, you do have a life too. You may have other things going on, so is it realistic for you to hit the target? or do you want the system to derive it for you? So either way you do it, what I typically do is as soon as I start studying, I schedule my exam. Why is that important? For me personally, I think it kind of holds me accountable. I have it on the calendar. I can work towards it. And Salesforce does have, for the Salesforce exams that are administered through web assessors, so including the admin exam, you do have a 72-hour policy if you're taking the exam at a testing center. So that's 72 hours prior to the start of your exam. So, you can basically reschedule without incurring a fee. Another thing is if you do it in-home, like if you do it at your home remotely, then it's 24 hours. So you do have that flexibility to reschedule if you need to. Some people like to schedule it closer to once they're ready, and that's another strategy as well. But for me, I just personally like to schedule it so I know I have a drop dead date to work towards. So to recap, go over Trailhead, the exam guide, look to see what the breakdown is. If there's an area you already know based on the outline and description of what you need to work on, do those trailheads first. Or if you just want to spend time going through all of it individually, that's not going to hurt you. But the most important is to invest a little bit of money towards either a Udemy course with Mike Wheeler or purchase a Focus on Force one. And with Focus on Force, you have the ability to purchase practice exams as well. And for me, if I can routinely receive above around an 80% score on the admin exam, that's when I know I'm ready. So certainly give that a try. I will say for all of you that are watching this to avoid using a test bank. I know it's tempting, but a lot of times it is not about just getting a passing score. It is about knowing the material, and I would say it is not worth it if you were to use a test bank, get a passing score, but then you don't know what you're doing, and then it doesn't actually help you. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment and let me know, and I'll be happy to do another video to, address your concerns. Thank you for watching.